Shooting Touch, thank you. Shooting Touch is a global organization that uses basketball to educate and empower at-risk youth, women, and their communities to live healthier lives. 11 years ago, Shooting Touch started as an idea. And since then, we've grown from a grassroots basketball organization into an international NGO that serves over 1,500 youth and women and indirectly impacts an additional 7,500 youth and women every day. Today, we are a women-run organization, and we strive every day to meet two critical objectives. The first objective is to promote equal access to physical activity and wellness, and the second objective is to provide access to health education and health educational services. So why are we different, and why do we matter? Well, there are many organizations out there that strive to provide health education and public health information to populations that need it the most. But their only problem, one of their many problems, is that they can't mobilize youth, mobilize people on a regular basis. Our superpower is basketball. Our mobilizing power is basketball. Through the power of sport, we develop relationships within our communities, we establish local partnerships on the ground, we create safe places of play, and then we build courts in disadvantaged places and use wraparound health programming to impact the ones that need our services the most. By integrating our programming with resource-poor communities, we're providing tools for our participants to rise from their situations and take control of their lives. We believe that basketball alone, through the mental health aspects of the game and physical activity, are making a difference. But we are sure that the health services that we provide and the health education that we are instilling in our communities are making a long-lasting impact. But to give you a little bit more history, we landed in Rwanda 6 years ago. As we were establishing our international programming, we knew we needed to put down program roots in a place that needed help. As many of you know, after the 1994 genocide in the country, Rwanda needed help. They needed rebuilding. They needed joy. Post-94, we were also presented with the fact that 67% of the population was under the age of 25 years old. Although we were a very small group of people, we knew we could make an impact. We knew we could use the power of sport to create joy, health, and as our mission states, empowerment. Since we've been in country, we have built 6 courts. We've become the country's only youth national basketball league. We've hired 15 female and male coaches. We've shifted gender norms in communities and given women who have never had access to the sport the opportunity to sweat, to be part of a team, to put on basketball shorts for the first time. What we have created, again, has shifted gender norms and given people happiness and joy. But about 3 years into our program, we were standing there and we saw children lying on the grass with fevers, not being able to play. We saw women who used to run to our courts every day, not engaging. We saw people who would wake up and the first thing they thought about was coming to our courts, but they weren't playing. It dawned on us, people were too sick to play. They were too sick. They didn't have access to health care. And it was our obligation, because we brought in this game to these communities, to get them well. That's what we felt. So we built a wraparound, from the ground up, health curriculum. And we quickly saw ourselves in this very unique, incredible position. Hundreds of men and women were showing up at our courts every day, but they weren't going to the local health centers to get access to vaccines and treatments that could get them well. Basketball and the joy it was bringing, we're bringing them to our courts and the classrooms that they turned into. Because you see, we are quite literally dealing with life and death situations in our programming. But to give you a little bit more eye-opening experience into our impact, let me give you a couple statistics that could help explain our work. 1 child dies from malaria every 30 seconds around the world. 75% of our participants have been diagnosed with malaria in the past year. We as a team have provided 300 malaria nets to our people in our program. 66% of the people and females in our program are victims of physical, emotional, and verbal abuse. We've taught gender empowerment curriculum, adolescent reproductive health, and given the females in our program not only more education about their bodies, but they know their sexual rights and how to fend off unwanted advances, all through the power of sport. 1/5 of deaths in Rwanda are due to diarrheal diseases because they're drinking unsanitary drinking water. We've provided 2,880 people with clean water solutions because of the power of sport. With HIV and AIDS being top killers in Rwanda, we've provided STD and NCD testing to over 1,000 people in just the past 12 months. And lastly, with an average family size of 6 and an average income of $30 a month, families in our program were not going out and seeking health care for their families. If they got sick, they had no way to get well. But I stand here today, I could keep rattling off statistics about the programming that we're doing and about the outcomes that we're so proud of. But there are so many things that we do on the ground that are matters of the heart that cannot be measured. We've created communities of respect and honor and friendship. We've given women the ability to no longer be restricted to daily chores and working in the field. We've given them the opportunity to play on the court, be part of a team, and create the lasting friendships that they didn't have prior to Shooting Touch. These women are now valued and celebrated for playing basketball. And more importantly, they're supported by their husbands and their sons who line the court to cheer them on. And I could stand here today and talk about the many heroes within our program, the stories of persistence and resilience and determination that I am blown away every time I hear them. But the woman that I'm about to introduce you to is special. And as we stand here today in Buenos Aires, and we remember the values of Olympism like friendship and excellence and respect. As our in-country program director, Chloe Rothman, embodies all of these traits every time she steps on and off the court as a coach mentor. I'm so happy to introduce you, Chloe. Can you please share some stories about the work we do?
If you bring sport to a community, you create change. If you bring sport and health to a community, you create drastic change. Like Lindsay said, we started off as just a grassroots basketball organization. We were solely focused on the sport. But when we saw that kids weren't showing up to nearly 1/3 of our practices, we knew we had to do something about it. We had to bring health education, we had to bring health care, and so we just went and did that. For those of you who don't really know much about Rwanda, I want to put an image inside your head for a second. Katarama is 57 years old. She is a mother of 7. She lives in a mud house, no running water, no electricity, and her kids sleep on makeshift beds that are made out of mud bricks. She sells sorghum to make beer. Last month, she made 500 Rwandan francs. That's less than $1 US in the entire month. She's struggling. Katarama lost a child to malaria. She was 13 years old, her daughter. Katarama knew Shooting Touch was 4 minutes a walk down the road, and so decided to come join it, knowing the benefits of what Shooting Touch could give, that health education, that health care. When Katarama was there for 3 weeks, she came every single day, and she was in the process of getting her health insurance for her entire family, gaining all these health benefits from us, and she lost a second child to malaria. He was 25 years old, and he collapsed in a field working for just a few hundred francs to try to support his family. Katarama didn't come back to the court, and when I heard from the other women what had happened, I wondered if I ever see Katarama again. I went to console her, myself and our coaches, our basketball coaches, and 4 days later she came back. She doesn't want to lose another child. She needs the health ed. She needs the health insurance and the health care. But that camaraderie, the women, what you saw in that video on International Women's Day, she needed that as well. So you go from health at an individual, to then a family, and then from families it turns into community, and community is the whole village, and then eventually the whole country of Rwanda. And so what you see here in this International Women's Day parade in Rwanda is 7, 8, 9-year-old boys marching for gender equity, for female empowerment, and to be honest, they really don't know what's going on there. They just want to bang the drums and they want to blow the horns, and after they run 5 kilometers, they're going to get the opportunity to play basketball in front of 2,000 people. But let me tell you, when those kids are 13, 14, 15 years old, they're going to start to see what's going on. they're not gonna see a difference between playing with a female or a male on the court. It's the same. And when those boys are 17, 18, 19 years old, they're helping us. They're advocates now for this movement, this gender equity movement happening in Rwanda. And so that's what we care about. We care about just getting them there. We got the 8-year-olds there at the parade. Now we have them, and that happened because of sport. That happened because of basketball. I don't know if many of you know, but Rwanda leads the world in most females in government. They have 64% of their government is female. NPR just came out with an article, and they said that Rwanda, #1 in the world for women empowerment, but it doesn't follow into the village in everyday life, and that's true. When Lindsay says that 67% of the females in our program have been victims of sexual or emotional abuse, I mean, we have a problem. When my best friend in Rwanda prays every night that her newborn child, her next child, is not a girl, and not because a boy will bring more income to the family, but because she fears the life for females in Rwanda, we have a problem. But let me tell you something. It's working what we're doing. I was standing on the basketball court one night, and a 13-year-old girl came up to me. And I brought a coach over because I don't speak too much Kinyarwanda. But what I do understand is when she said, Oya Simbishaka. That was our mantra for our most recent health lesson. And Oya Simbishaka means no, I don't want. That 13-year-old girl said, Oya Simbishaka, no, I do not want, to an 18-year-old boy that was trying to force sex on her. That boy laughed and said, you must be a shooting touch girl, and walked away. So when we see this working, it really pushes us, really pushes us to keep going. And we can't wait to keep it going.
Yeah, we have to keep going. The first 10 years of Shooting Touch has been chapter 1. The next 10 years, and hopefully for years after that, are going to serve as chapter 2. We cannot meet the demand of what we're seeing from our program. We need more supply, we need more support, we need more help. And that's why today we are so grateful to stand on this stage. A huge thank you to the IOC for shining light on organizations like ours, who are on the ground every day, using the power of sport to help others. So I thank you for this opportunity. And if I can just lastly say, if there's anybody in the audience that has an idea, even a glimpse of a spark, to start something using the power of sport to help others, please see it through. Because you never know how much impact you can make, and you may save some lives along the way. Thank you very much.
Thank you.